Today on 3 News at 12, an arrest after a sex attack in South Auckland, but is it linked to a series of similar incidents? There's concern not enough is being done in the changing of food labelling laws. And on par, some former sporting stars tee off for a good cause.
This is 3 News at 12 with Ingrid Hipkiss.
Kia ora, good afternoon. In breaking news, police have launched a homicide investigation after the death of a young boy at Wanganui Hospital. The boy was taken to the hospital with serious unexplained injuries at the weekend. His death has now been referred to the coroner. A 14-year-old boy is appearing in the Manukau Youth Court this afternoon, charged with the indecent assault of a woman in South Auckland. The attack occurred yesterday and follows 3 other attacks in the suburb of Mangere in recent months. Brooke Sabin reports.
It's meant to be a walk to school, not a walk of fear for these Ngā school parents. Normally this area is bustling with children on their way to school, but this morning there were more Māori wardens in the alleyway than parents.
I've got 4 patrolling the park here and another 2 in the alleyway.
Yesterday, a 14-year-old male was apprehended by a member of the public after he allegedly knocked over a 29-year-old mother and indecently assaulted her. It follows 3 other sex attacks in the same walkway since September, one where an 8-year-old girl was raped.
I'm scared, very scared.
A 14-year-old male is due to appear here at the Manukau Youth Court this afternoon, charged on 1 count of indecent assault. But police aren't saying whether he's linked to the 3 other incidents. You still think he's out on the loose?
I wouldn't know, but it just pays to be careful. If he is, well, we'll be here to hopefully get him.
Until then, this community remains on edge. Brooke Sabin, 3 News.
There's concern food labelling laws, which are under review, will not include an ingredient that some claim is endangering the health of New Zealanders. The Trans-Tasman food body is looking at changing the rules on labelling to make it less of a burden on food producers without compromising public health. But the Green Party wants labels to include the level of trans fats.
These trans fats, they raise bad blood cholesterol and they increase our risk of coronary heart disease. So it seems reasonable to me that consumers should know when they're buying a product which has trans fats in it, so that if they wish, they can avoid purchasing products which will be harmful to their health.
Radovan Karadzic has boycotted the start of his war crimes trial at The Hague for a 2nd day in a row. But despite the no-show, UN prosecutors opened their case, calling him the undisputed leader and supreme commander of Serbs, responsible for atrocities throughout Bosnia's 4-year war. The presiding judge says he'll consider imposing a lawyer to represent Karadzic if he continues to boycott the proceedings. Karadzic, who's defending himself, claims he's not had enough time to prepare. A helicopter has crashed during a military parade in Ecuador. 2 people were on board, but neither was seriously injured. The aircraft was flying in formation when a fire began at the back of the helicopter, causing it to spiral toward the ground. Somali pirates claim they're holding a British couple hostage and are demanding $5 million for their return. There's been no contact with Paul and Rachel Chandler since they sent a distress signal on Friday. ITV's Angus Walker has the latest.
One of many photos from Rachel and Paul Chandler's detailed log of their dream voyage, but they appear to have sailed into a nightmare. They've been travelling around the Indian Ocean and left the Paradise Seychelles Islands on October the 22nd. But they were only around 60 miles into their journey to Tanzania when a distress beacon on board their yacht was set off. Their last known position is more than 600 nautical miles from the coast of Somalia, suggesting Somali pirates are targeting vessels far from their own shores. The European Union naval forces in the waters off Somalia are controlled from this operations room based at Northwood in Middlesex. Their warships and aircraft have now spotted a yacht being towed by what appear to be pirate speedboats around 200 miles from Somalia.
It's the relative success of anti-piracy patrols that could be forcing Somali pirates to travel much further, hunting easier targets.
I think the Somali pirates are desperate to get their hands on any vessels. That's been shown by the long distances they're prepared to travel now, and taking smaller vessels such as yachts. It's not the first yacht they've taken, but taking yachts, which are low-priced targets, shows another desperate act on their behalf to try and gain some money.
Earlier this year, a French yacht was captured by Somali pirates. Negotiations broke down and French commandos stormed the vessel, killing the pirates and one hostage. British crewmen were taken hostage on board the oil tanker Sirius Star back in January. The Chandlers appear to be the latest hostages, to add to a total of 145 currently held by Somali pirates.
The decision by some women to delay having children until later in life could be behind a big rise in the number of Down syndrome pregnancies. In Britain, antenatal tests found the condition in more than 1,800 babies, a rise of 71% in the last 2 decades. ITV's Sally Biddulph reports.
Tina Bravati was 20 weeks pregnant with her 4th child, Leo, when a routine scan showed her baby had Down syndrome. Her and her husband were offered a termination, but they chose to keep their baby.
I don't see Down syndrome as being something so terrible. There's a lot of diseases that you can get, a lot of problems a child could get that are so much worse than Down syndrome. It just didn't occur to me to abort the child at all.
Tina was 30. At her age, the chance of having a baby with Downs is about 1 in 1,000. But by 40, the risk increases to 1 in 85. As women age, the quality of their eggs degenerates, which can lead to genetic abnormalities such as Downs. With many women taking years to conceive or putting off motherhood till they've established a career or can afford a baby, a Downs diagnosis is devastating.
Women do a lot of information hunting to work out what living with a child with Down syndrome might mean for them as women, for their future, for the future of other children they may have or may hope to have. And weighing all that up, they come often to the decision that for them the best thing is to end the pregnancy.
Living with Downs poses major challenges for the child and its family. Parents have to make a choice, and it's often the hardest one of their lives.
Scientists in Britain have uncovered the skull of a sea monster that lived 150 million years ago. It's from the biggest predator that ever lived, the pliosaur. ITV's Lawrence McGinty reports.
These are the fossilised remains of what was probably the greatest marine predator that ever lived. 150 million years ago, when dinosaurs trod the earth, this pliosaur ruled the seas.
What we have is the skull of an absolutely enormous marine reptile called a pliosaur. This is the top of the skull, there's the snout. It would have risen up, it's been crushed a fair degree, risen up to the very back of the skull here.